Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the headlines from the Sudan Civil War. So this is actually a new initiative of sorts that I will be covering the geopolitical and political or global aspect towards the war. I will be doing this for the Ukraine war as well. So instead of just covering through the sit rep, the battle situations, kind of ignored or accidentally kind of not covering enough of the geopolitical side of things or the economic financial side of things. This will help to cover the part where the battle reporting, the war reporting is not covering. So there's a lot of things to cover in the Sudan Civil War. It all started off on the February of 11 February. I'm not too sure if this has anything to do with the Sudan Civil War per se, but there is certain implications that comes to Russia. So the Sudan's junta or junta, someone just emailed me and tell me that this is actually the Spanish word. It's pronounced as junta, but if I say junta, no one in the English world will understand what is this. It's the junta, and the military rulers, basically, they have concluded a review of the agreement with the Russian side. So with Lavrov, they actually confirmed that this deal is at least more or less confirmed with the military side, so they just need to be ratified by the legislative body, which is non-existent in Sudan because they are still run by the military since 2019 in April. So the idea of this entire plan is actually for the Russians to build a naval base on the Red Sea on the Sudan side. So this was actually already confirmed and agreed with the previous ruler, the Omar al-Bashir, and it was done because he felt threatened by the United States, and they are worried that the United States may actually do something military to Sudan. Unfortunately, the United States are much smarter than that. They actually did something militarily without the US forces getting involved, and he's gone. And for the junta, they do not think that there's a need. They don't feel threatened by the United States, so they never really take a priority in terms of this review or whether to allow the Russians to have this naval base. So and the Russians seems to be really nice in the sense that just because there was no parliament, so the Russians feel like there is no legitimacy if they are to build a naval base here, so they did not build. And this, so this as per this what I just explained, but the military coup basically just make this thing not happen. And so maybe there's something to do with this, maybe there's something not to do with this. I don't think it does, but it's just a good information to know, because you will see this thing being mentioned by pro-Russian medias or channels claiming that this war is started because someone want to deny the Russians port, whereas if you read the Western media, they will say that it's something to do with the Wagner group. So and another very suspicious things that happened before the war broke out on the 13th of February, 13th of April, the RSF leader, his name is Hamite. He actually, this is actually his nickname, actually have a conference meeting with the special envoys of United States, Great Britain, and Norway. And so it was not mentioned why is there such a phone call. This is reported by Raiba as well as announced proudly by the RSF themselves on their Twitter. So it was unclear why they have this meeting, and it was not clear what was sent or what was mentioned. But what happened on the very same day was that the RSF actually mobilized their troops, and they have deployed their forces in Khartoum as well as other cities in Sudan. So this actually alarmed the armed forces of Sudan, the Sudan armed forces, because they are some kind of a parallel military. The armed forces of Sudan is actually the main military. This RSF, which is the Rapid Support Force, is actually a militia group. So this militia group is extremely massive. They are just as big as the armed forces of Sudan. So they are rivals. There are two military leaders, both claim to be the rightful next military ruler of Sudan. Then on the 14th of April, something suspicious happened, which is what I mentioned about the Wagner. So there was this Russian national that is arrested 24 hours before the war broke out, and he was charged for smuggling of gold. And according to Daily Mail, as you can see, it's Daily Mail, so take it with a pinch of salt. They say that this guy is a head of security for a Wagner-linked firm, and they suspect that this is a senior figure within the Wagner group. Whatever they say, it doesn't seem like the case, because I'm not sure, because the mobilization happened on the 13th, right? So, and then the Civil War broke out. So on the 15th of April, in the morning on Saturday, they started fighting each other, the two groups, the Armed Forces of Sudan and the Rapid Support Force, and they started fighting in the capital of Khartoum, and then they were fighting for the airport and the military compound, and then this fighting then spread across the entire country. So then we have the joint statement, because this war broke out, and the West, basically, because France, Germany, Norway, Britain, US, and European Union, basically it's the West, they have a joint statement calling on Sudan's military and civilian leaders to take active steps to reduce tension. And then what happens is that during the RSF, the Rapid Support Forces invasion, or rather, military operations, they captured the Merowe International Airport. And what is at the international airport is actually Egyptian soldiers. So these Egyptian troops were actually in Merowe Airport because they actually just had a military exercise with the armed forces of Sudan. And these Egyptian troops were arrested by the RSF, and then they actually promised the Egyptian government that they will ensure the safe return of the Egyptian troops that was training here. And the two Egyptian security sources can confirm that the Egyptian officials are able to make contact with the leader of the Egyptian units to confirm they were safe. According to videos that is going viral, that went viral on the social media, shows that the Egyptian troops basically surrendered themselves to the RSF. I believe it's because these troops they are not armed. They don't have actually bullets, even if they have guns. Which is why they are kind of helpless. And this fighting, this flare up of the war, pissed off the junta leader, and Sudan Armed Forces has categorically dismissed any possibility of negotiation or dialogue with the paramilitary, the Rapid Support Forces. So they say that there will be no negotiation or dialogue until the dissolution of the paramilitary RSF on their official Facebook page. So basically, it's a declaration of war, I would guess, until the entire group is annihilated or disbanded. Then, with this war growing on the 15th as well, on the same day of the war breaking out, Chad, the African state, not Super Chad. I know that I'm a Chad, but not me the Chad, but Chad the country, decided to close their border with Sudan, and they say that there is a risk of spillover and infiltration, according to a member of the Chadian government, told AFP. So as a result, Chad also actually deployed their forces to the border between Sudan and Chad, and they want to ensure that the violence and the fighting do not spill over to the neighboring country. And this is then reacted with Egypt also closing their border with Sudan. Egypt do not have that many border routes. From what I can tell, there's around two roads that you can go through into. There's one here. This is you see there's a border station here over near the coast, and then there's another one over here just north of Wadi Jaffa. I do Wadi Halfa. I don't see any other roads on the other parts. These are all desert. So yeah, so the two border crossings with Egypt has been closed on the 16th of April, reported by the defense post. The Arab League then decided to hold an emergency meeting on Sudan. This is at the request of Saudi Arabia and Egypt, and then the Sudan envoy to the Arab League is funny. He said that he do not know why the conflict started. He basically said that he told reporters, this guy El Sadiq Omar Abdullah, Sudan's representative, said that the RSF and the Sudan's armed forces were in a partnership and they were in the same camp on the political transition process. So he said that we'll figure out exactly what the cause of this conflict is, and perhaps after that the issue can be resolved, Abdullah said. And the United Nations Security Council issued statement on Sudan. The United Nations Security Council expressed deep concern over the military clashes, and they urged both parties to immediately cease hostility and restore calm. And clearly this is what UN Security Councils always do, but it's just say for fun. And so does the for fun person, UN Secretary General, also calls the same thing. The most ignored person in the world, Antonio Guterres, called for an immediate end to the violence in Sudan, according to his spokesperson on Twitter. So so what happened is that during the fighting, there was fighting at the airport, and so this is the airport over here, and there's shootings around, and there's an aircraft getting shot while it's trying to take off, and these people then have to be evacuated. So according to so the Saudi citizens that were on this Saudi Arabian plane, they are moved to the Saudi embassy after he was hit by gunfire before he could take off from Khartoum, and the US embassy staff are also not allowed to leave, basically because the United States government say they cannot leave. They basically tell them to stay in place, stay sheltered in place, and yeah, that's it. It reminds me of Libya. What happened in Libya as well is that the staff also stayed in the country while the fighting is ongoing. So it's not not very wise. But they are not alone. A lot of other countries' embassies are around as well. And so the United Nations on the 16th of April proposed a humanitarian pause, which both sides agreed for 3 hours on Sunday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. local time, and both sides actually agreed to it. So I'm not sure what they have done during the humanitarian pause, but it happened and it went. So just in case you guys are not aware, both sides are actually uniformed. The armed forces of Sudan, the Sudan Armed Forces uniform is green color. The Rapid Support Force, their uniform color is actually in desert color, yellowish color. So it actually makes them a lot more easy to identify when they fight. So that's actually not a bad thing. So over at the African Union, the chairman of the African Union Commission, Moussa Faki Mahamat, will travel immediately to Sudan to engage the parties towards a ceasefire announced on Sunday, and they express deep concern, and they call on the two generals to protect civilians. So I'm not too sure whether he's already in Sudan. This is the last thing I heard of them. Heard of this chairman of the African Union. So the Saudi Arabians urged the warring sides to cease fighting. So basically, the Saudi Arabian Foreign Minister Faisal bin Farhan helped separate phone calls with both leaders. So Abdel Fattah Burhan, as well as the paramilitary chief Muhammad Hamdan Dagalo, also nicknamed Hamiti, urged both of them to end fighting, which clearly, of course, will be ignored. However, on the 17th, bad things happened. The World Food Programme suspended operation. This happens after 3 of their staff were killed and 2 others were injured in North Darfur. Actually, the exact town the fighting was actually at Kapkabia. So if you actually go and watch the sit rep over on the DPA War channel, you'll realize that Kapkabia has been captured by the RSF Forces. And in the process of capturing the town, the UN staffs have been shot. I'm not sure. There's no news or information or reports about what exactly happened, but 3 of them just died. And Cindy McCain, the executive director of the agency, said that they cannot do their life-saving works if safety and security of their teams and partners is not guaranteed. And Egypt and Sudan then come into the fray. Egypt and South Sudan. So South Sudan is their former brothers in the same country, which they actually fought a civil war to gain independence. South Sudan and Egypt have jointly offered to mediate between the two warring generals. So they both call for immediate ceasefire and urge both parties to de-escalate and resort to peaceful dialogue, which I'm sure they will be ignored as well. And just now I mentioned the Arab League will convene for emergency meeting, and it convened. So this time around, the Sudan ambassador now knows what is happening. So he literally just tell the world, or rather the Arab world, that the RSF, the Rapid Support Force, is the one that initiated the fighting on Saturday morning. And he then refers them to rebels. And Sudanese army then strike back to foil the RSF attacks. And he claims that the Sudanese army is now in control of the situation. So the representative of Sudan then call on the Arab states to mediate for a calm and peaceful settlement away from international intervention. So this terminology is very interesting. I think they are worried about Western intervention into whatever is happening over in Sudan. And the Arab League Council is willing to expend all effort to assist Sudan to resolve the crisis in a sustainable manner, in line with the people's interest, said the statement by the council. But then of course, like I said, the leaders are going to ignore the whole world as they jostle for control. The RSF leader then claimed that the junta's fighter jets and bombers are bombing civilians. So Mohammed Dagalo of the RSF tweeted that the international community must take action now and intervene against the crimes of the Sudanese general Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, which he claims is a radical Islamist that is bombing civilians from the air, which is, yeah, I find it a bit hilarious. But his army is waging a brutal campaign against innocent people, bombing them with MiGs. Although the funny thing is that the RSF are the ones that started the shooting. So yeah, I wonder why the MiGs are bombing, doing bombing missions, which is, yeah, I just, the hypocrisy is just a bit like a hippopotamus. And the UN then claimed on the 17th of April claims that 185 people has been killed so far on the 3rd day of the war, and 1,800 people has been injured, according to the UN envoy Volker Perthes telling reporters, according to the Star Tribune. And the EU ambassador, if you go over to watch the SITREP for the 3rd day, day 3 SITREP, this information is also mentioned. The EU ambassador is assaulted at his residence. So at first it wasn't very clear who actually assaulted him, and the Joseph Borrell, EU policy chief, is pissed, and then he then claims, he pointed that the security of the diplomatic premises and staff is a primary responsibilities of the Sudan authorities and is an obligation under international law. But he seems like he's not aware that Khartoum is actually not in the control of the Sudanese authority. Then came in the irishnews.com that the RSF denied involvement in the attack of the ambassador's home, blaming the military. However, the Western diplomat, so basically the EU ambassador in Cairo, so he's not in Cairo, so the Western diplomat said that the residence is actually ransacked by armed men in RSF uniform. So who is this Western diplomat? I actually have no idea. I think I missed the information. Who is the diplomat? Western diplomat. Who is that? Could that be Blinken? Joseph Borrell? I'm not sure who is actually in. Yeah, I have no idea who is it. Never mind. It's not important. Just know that it's actually the RSF. So then, when you thought that is bad enough, the RSF forces actually attacked the U.S. diplomatic convoy. So the so there is the U.S. embassy over here, and there is still, you know, the diplomatic corps still within Sudan, and the convoy then come under fire by fighters associated with the paramilitary rapid support force. So this is actually mentioned by the U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, and he described it as reckless and irresponsible. And this is actually very funny because I thought that the Americans are behind supporting the RSF, but then this happened, and then they got condemned by the United States. So now I do not know who is actually backing the RSF. So Blinken was very pissed off. So he caught both leaders and scolded them. So, but so far everyone in the convoy is safe, he added. And finally, we have information that the RSF has turned on their words. Now they say that they will only return the Egyptian soldiers when the situation cooled down. So while there was not much fighting here in the northern part of Sudan, they could have just sent them on their way, but they didn't. So they want to hold them hostage, I guess. So so this is the headlines and the situation over in Sudan on the political and geopolitical level. And so if you want the war reporting, do go over to DPA War channel to check out the war reporting. And so the information here does not include what's happening over the past day, over the past 12 hours, because yeah, this is talking about all the way up to the 17th with only one piece of information coming from the 18th. And so let me know in the comments what do you think, and if you like this format, you know, separating the, or, you know, adding more information on the geopolitical or global affairs sites on top of the war reporting that's reported on the war channel. Do let me know your opinions and comments, and do check out the DPA War channel for the war reporting. I have already uploaded 3 days of SITREP. Day 1 is already public as per this recording. The other 2 will be set to public very soon. But if you go to the link or the playlist, you will be able to see all 3 of them. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next update.